Hello there, everybody who was absent on Friday. It's Mr. Sanders here. I'm going to take you through all the steps to get your drive set up for the beginning of the year here in Humanities class, as well as to get your portfolio website set up. There are a lot of steps to follow. I'm going to go sort of fast, but feel free to pause me and rewind to if you get behind or anything like that. I'm also going to try and describe it as much as I possibly can so you don't have to be watching the video, but you can come back and watch the video if you want. So very first thing I would do is get your drive open in one tab and the Humanities site open in another. And if you see up at the top of my screen here, I have this tab pinned, so it's really small. This is something that I like to do with tabs that I always keep open. To do that, you right-click. That's a two-finger tap on a Chromebook. You right-click the tab, and you can choose to pin it right here usually. So I can unpin drive or repin it, and it makes it small. Then you can kind of shuffle it like that. So I do that just to make it nice and easy. First thing we want to do once you have drive and site open is to go to drive, and you're going to create a new folder in drive. You can see I already have a few of these created, but you're going to create an 8th grade folder. So you're going to be using a lot of documents throughout your course of your BVSD career in Drive, and if you don't start organizing it all now, it's going to be a very big hot mess. So to do this, we're in our normal Drive, click New, and Folder. Title it 8th grade, and create it. Now once you have it created, go into it, and you're going to see that it's empty in there, of course, because you just created it. And here's the deal with Drive. Anytime you create a new document, it's going to place that document into whatever folder you're in at the moment. So if I go back to Drive and create a document, it's going to put it in the overall Drive. But if I go into that 8th grade folder and click New, then whatever I put in there will go into that folder. So that's always something good to keep in mind. So in the 8th grade folder, I would put all of the classes you have this year in the 8th grade. Let's add a new folder for our class and just title it Humanities and hit create. And you're going to see the Humanities folder then pops up. And by the way, if you're not seeing your drive the same way I'm seeing mine, it's because I have the list view on as opposed to the grid view. Up here in the upper right hand corner, you can change that and it kind of becomes more of a grid view. I personally like the list more. It's just the way my brain works. Anyways, now that we have a Humanities folder, you could probably go ahead and create a folder for all your other classes, science and math and all that. Let's go into the Humanities folder, and we're going to put a new folder in there. And the first folder we're going to put in there is called Genius Hour. Geniushour. Hit create, and a Genius Hour folder is created. So now that all of that is done, our drive is set up for the moment. We will come back to it later, but we wanted to make sure all those folders were there before we do the next step. And the next step is to go to the Humanities site, our class site. And if you scroll down to the bottom of the Humanities site, you're going to see a few links down here in the bottom right-hand corner. There will probably be a link for the video you're watching right now here eventually. But first thing you want to do is click Get Your Portfolio. And it's going to open up a window that's going to be the first step in creating your site. So first things first is you want to make sure that the Humanities portfolio box is red. And then we're going to name our site something very specific. It needs to be underscore. Underscore is the key, is the dash key, so you hit Shift dash. And the dash key is directly to the right of the 0 key on all keyboards. So underscore, your first name, and this is the name that we know you by. So I'm going to put, let's just act like my first name is Sample. And my last name is Dusenberry. I'll put a D, so Sample D. If your name is John Smith, it would be John S. And then another underscore. So you can see the only space is between the first name and the last initial, underscore on each side, and that'll make it look nice once you create your site. Once you have it named appropriately and Humanities portfolio is selected, go ahead and click Create. And in a few moments, it will create your portfolio. So basically, we have pre-built a portfolio for you with most of the components you're going to need for the entire year. And that's what you're getting right now. And it might take a little bit of time, especially depending on your internet connection, but eventually this screen will pop up where you'll have the wooden fence look in the background. It'll say Humanities Portfolio and your name. So I'll give you a quick tour through your portfolio real quick. So if you're off of the video, maybe come back to the video for a second and watch. But your portfolio looks exactly like this. In this section right here on the home page, you can write a short introduction or description about yourself. Tell us about who you are as a person, as a learner. Get creative here. But remember that this is essentially a professional site. This is your work throughout the course of the year. You could essentially take this up to Fairview and show it to a teacher and be like, and hopefully you'll have some cool stuff on this site. So keep it professional. In the first thing box, this is where you're going to, anytime we do a news feed day or a primary source of the week or a video of the week, you're going to post that stuff here. It's sort of like a journal for all of those things. Okay, we'll give you detail of how to do that. Bookshelf. Bookshelf is the independent reading book that you're all doing, but there's a project that kind of goes along with it throughout the course of the year. Again, we'll give you more details here. Genius Hour is something that we talked about on Friday, and if you weren't there on Friday, we will get you caught up on it. But basically, this is where you do all of your Genius Hour. It's a year-long project. National History Day, big deal here, and what you create you will be proud of. So we decided to give you a page where you could post that. Okay? And then also, first and second semester look the same. But basically, most of the work that you do will go in one of these 2 pages. So kind of our big theme for our first unit for the first semester is identity and self-expression. So this kind of describes identity and self-expression. And then this is where all the stuff you do will be posted. Okay? So that's kind of a quick tour of your portfolio. Let's get it set up though. So if you want to go back to your actual tab, your portfolio, you can. First thing we need to do is make sure the share settings are correct. So go ahead, upper right hand corner, click share. And what you're going to notice is that, so you're going to see the link to share. That's just the link to your site. But it says who has access. You're going to see it says Boulder Valley School District. Anyone at Boulder Valley School District can find and edit. We do not want that. We do not want other people to have editing rights to your site. For some reason, it defaults to this. So we need to change that. And just click anyone with the link. And you're going to know that that's okay because down here it says access can view. So people with the link can get to your site, but all they can do when they get there is view it. Click Save. And your site is set up and ready to go for sharing purposes. Now, we need to get this site shared with Mr. Crandall and myself. So to do that, let's go ahead and go back to your site. On the left-hand side under Manage Site, you're going to see your name. Click that, and it'll take you back to your site. And then come up here to the URL for your site. Make sure you're on the home page, by the way. And you're going to copy that URL. You can, on a Chromebook or any computer, hit Command or Control C. Or you can right-click it and hit Copy. Then you need to go back to our site. And right below the link that you click to get your portfolio on the bottom of the home page is the Turn in your portfolio. Click that and it's going to open up a form that has a chair lift, a ski lift on the top. Go ahead, put in your last name, your first name, choose the period that you have Mr. Crandall on your schedule, so social studies on your schedule, and then paste that link that you copied in the bottom. Once you've done all those things, click Submit, and then we now have access to see your site. Okay, so we are on the right track. All right, taking a look at what we need to do next here. Okay, next up, pull up your site, so your portfolio, so it'll have your name on it, and go to the Genius Hour page. Now we went into a lot of detail on what this project is, and if you want detail on it, you can go to the G Hour page on our website, and I have that pulled up on the screen at the moment, and it will tell you everything that you need to know for the project. Okay, so we did go over this in class, but if you want to take a look at it, it's probably a good idea. In the Genius Hour page, one of the things you're going to keep updated is what we're going to call the plan and learning document. So it's a document where you kind of keep a to-do list and tell us what you've been up to, but also prove to us that you've actually learned something from this project. So we need to get that document and get it embedded into this site. So on your Genius Hour page, it says click here to get your own plan and learning document. So go ahead and click there, and it's going to open up what's called a template. So in the upper left-hand corner, there should be a button that says use this template. Please click it. And what it does is it takes a copy of that template and puts it into your drive. First thing you always need to do when you get one of these templates is rename it, because it says it's named copy of right now. So go ahead up here, delete the words copy of from the front of it, and at the end add a space dash space, so add a dash, and your first and last name, space dash space, and put the letter that corresponds with the class that you're in. Now, if you're in periods 1 and 2, you're an A. Periods 3, 4, you're a B. Periods 5, 6, you're a C. Okay? So I'll just act like I'm in 5, 6. I'll put a C. Now, this got put into our drive, but it didn't get put into the right folder in our drive, so we need to organize it. Just to the right of the name of the document at the top, you should see a tiny little folder icon. When you hover over it, it says Move to Folder. Click that, and it's going to basically bring up the shell or the organization of your drive. Select, and you need to select the folder. So you should see an 8th grade folder in there. Double-click it, and then underneath it, you'll get a Humanities folder. Double-click it, and then you'll see a Genius Hour folder. Click it once, and it'll put a check mark next to it. What that's saying is you're going to drop this document in that folder. So go ahead and put it there. And you'll know you've done well if you hover back over that little folder and click it. It'll say that this item is in Genius Hour. And if you don't have it in the right place, you can always click Organize and put it in the right place. That's also a good way to move documents if you have them in your drive. Okay, one more step here on this document, and that's to get it shared appropriately. So in the upper right-hand corner, click the Share button, the blue Share button. And in this thing that pops up, it says Get Shareable Link. Click that, and then you're going to see anyone at Boulder Valley Schools with link can view. Not quite what we want, so click the drop-down. We still don't see what we want. We're looking for anyone with link can view. So click the More option. And then the second option you'll see in this link sharing page is anyone with link. Click that and make sure it says can view, and then hit Save. Then hit Done. All right. Before we get this page embedded into your site, we have one more important step. So go back to your drive and go to the Humanities folder. So one way to do that is get into the 8th grade to where you can actually see the Humanities folder. So on this Humanities folder, please right-click it, and you're going to see a Share option. Go ahead and click Share. Okay, so now you're going to share this folder with both Mr. Crandall and Mr. Sanders. So if you want to watch my screen for a second, it's probably not a bad idea. I'm going to put in Mr. Crandall's first, ZACH dot Crandall with 2 L's at the end. And you should see his zach.crandall at bvsd.org. When you click on it, you'll see a little mountain scene on that icon. And to do mine, JEFFREY dot Sanders. And when you click on my name, you should see a Sasquatch face. Make sure it says Can Edit. And then you see this box right here. It needs to be unchecked. Do not notify us via email. Uncheck that box. If you didn't see that box, click the advanced settings, find that box in here, uncheck it, and hit OK. And it'll say, are you sure you want to skip sending invitations? And the answer is absolutely. We don't want to send the invitations. Now what you've essentially done is you've shared this humanities folder with the two of us. So anything you put into that folder will automatically get shared with us. So if you create a Google Doc and drop it in this folder, we have the ability to see it. So last thing, go back to your portfolio site, and you're going to embed that document in this page. So in the upper right-hand corner, you're going to see this little edit button. Looks like a pencil. Click the edit button and scroll down a little bit, and you're actually going to delete all this text that we have in here. So I'm going to copy it, or I'm going to select it and delete it. Once you have it deleted, double check that your cursor is down below the Genius Hour, because wherever your cursor is, that's where it's going to insert the document. And if you look at my screen for a second, we want it in this space. So to do this, click Insert. Go over to the third column and find Drive. When you hover over Drive, you're going to get the option to put a document in. Click Document. And the last thing that was edited that you have ownership to will pop up. Now, Mr. Rubin has just updated his homework, which I have access to. But I'm going to choose my Genius Hour plan and skills. You should do the same. Hit Select. Uncheck these two boxes. So this is, you're deciding what it's going to look like. And change the height from 600 to 700. Hit Save. And what's going to happen is you're going to get a big white ugly box on your Genius Hour page. That's okay. We want it to look that way. Hit Save in the upper right-hand corner, and it will stop looking like a big ugly white box, and it will put your actual document in there. Now, any change you make to that document will automatically show up on this page. Okay, so it should make your life easier and our lives easier when we want to come and take a look at what you're up to in your project. So, like I said, at this point in class, we went over what Genius Hour was. If you want to check out what it is, you can go to our Humanities site on the G Hour page, and there's tons of information there, probably even more information than we gave in class on what the project is. So, thanks for listening. If you have trouble with any of this, please let me know or Mr. Crandall know, and have a great day.